Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DG94, here back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to worst to best. Every Spider-Man cartoon rank worst to best. Alrighty, man. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
Been no shortage of Spider-Man cartoons. They've aired on different networks through the years, from ABC to MTV to Disney XD and more. They all really reflect when they were made too, so looking back on them almost functions like a crash course in the history of animation on television. So before I start, I want to say that in a way I value all of these shows, but come on, we all know that some are a little or a lot better than others. So I'm gonna dig in and rank them from less than amazing to the absolute best.
How's that for a down payment?
Number 9, Spider-Man Unlimited. So I know this show has its fans and I'll probably take a little heat for this, but man, I do not like Spider-Man Unlimited. In it,
Yep, you be the only one, because this shit was heat.
Spider-Man hitches a ride into space where he finds himself on a planet in the middle of a civil war involving animal-humanoid hybrids. If you're listening to that and thinking, that doesn't really sound like Spider-Man, you'd be right. That's my main problem with this show. Everything that makes Spider-Man Spider-Man is stripped away, leaving us with a series set on an alien world that could feature literally any superhero as its lead. Most of the old cast from the 1994 series is gone, replaced with a bunch of goofy new characters that Fox probably expected to sell a lot of toys with. Well, that didn't really work out, and the show was cancelled before the first season even finished. I will say this for the show though, the animation was pretty slick for TV in 1999. Still, the fact that this doesn't even feel like Spider-Man to me lands it pretty firmly at the bottom of my list. Number 8, Spider-Man 1981. The 60s cartoon doesn't exactly hold up that well, but it's definitely more fun to go back and watch than this very boring early 80s update. It's not bad exactly, it's just totally uninspired. You can tell that the writers were really just cashing a paycheck, and the animation is pretty dull as well. Overall, there's just not that much to say about this one. As an introduction to Spider-Man and his world, it probably did a perfectly fine job for kids back then, but there's very little reason to go back to it now unless you want to be a total Spidey completist. Number 7, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. The second Spider-Man cartoon of 1981, and by far the more ambitious one, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends gets big points from me for being the first Spider-Man show to really dive into the larger Marvel universe. Now, it's not great storytelling by any means, but Amazing Friends was trying to do so much more than its companion solo show. In addition to introducing Iceman and Firestar as co-leads and as friends of Peter's from college, it also had episodes with Doctor Doom, the X-Men, and Captain America. It was even the first ever appearance of Wolverine on TV. Yeah, he has an Australian accent for some reason, but I mean, he's there.
How you doing? Want a piece of fruit?
Overall, Amazing Friends isn't a great show, but it's far more ambitious than the ones that came before it, and expanded the web-slingers world more than anyone had ever seen outside of comics. Plus, the episodes with the evil video arcade machine Video Master are pretty great.
Oh no!
Number 6, Spider-Man 1967. So this is a weird one, because I debated putting this show both at the bottom of the list or a little closer to the top. The thing is, it's not good, but I kind of love it. It's so goofy and cheap looking with storylines that feel totally hallucinatory at times. It was also my first introduction to the character. I remember watching it, I think on VHS at a daycare when I was like 4 or 5, and having my mind totally blown. Looking at it now, that's pretty hard to imagine. But still, it's the show that launched 1,000 memes for a reason. It is really funny to watch now. There's absolutely no internal logic to it half the time. Like, look at this. What is this? What am I looking at here? I have no idea, but whatever it is, I love it, stiff animation and all. Number 5, Ultimate Spider-Man. So I think that in my video about the newest Spider-Man show, I said that I liked Ultimate more, and I gotta say, going back and rewatching some episodes for this video, I was wrong. I kind of can't stand...
All y'all was wrong about this. Don't get me wrong, it's still a nice Spider-Man series. It's a nice one. But it's not the best. Y'all keep trying to rank this over the 1994 version and the MTV version. It don't compare, bro. It's good, but it don't compare, bro. Y'all overhyping this one. It's good, but it's not what y'all hyping it up to be. Stop the cap.
In this show. Now don't get me wrong, it looks good, it's got some solid voice acting, and every once in a while it has some really decent joke writing. But, and keep in mind, this is coming from someone well outside of its target demographic, I just find it really annoying. Like, it gives me a headache. It's doing a very specific thing, and I guess it's doing that well, but that thing is just really not for me. Now, I've heard the later seasons improve, and I don't doubt that's true, but this version of Peter Parker just doesn't really feel like Peter Parker to me. Anyway, I'll move on from this one since I probably just sound like a cranky old man right now. Number 4, Marvel Spider-Man. So remember how I said that the 1981 show wasn't terrible, it was just kind of boring and uninspired? The most recent Spider-Man series kind of feels like that, but for the 2010s. Now, maybe that's kind of harsh. It's actually not bad these days. I think it's really improved over the course of its run. And it has a big advantage over the much older shows, in that while I don't love the animation, it is inarguably more fast and fluid, resulting in some pretty good action scenes. As the show has gone on, the character work has improved as well, to the point where I actually kind of like this show now. I don't ever see it cracking the top 3 spots, but I don't think it's a bad watch either. Number 3, Spider-Man the New Animated Series.
This is arguably one of the most underrated ones. This is the MTV version. This is like an adult version of Spider-Man, so it's like they got adult themes in here. So this is like this is like a rated R Spider-Man, pretty much. They say they do have a tendency to cuss in here too, so there's that as well.
2003 was
I really hate the fact that this was left on a cliffhanger too. A really good cliffhanger.
weird time for Spider-Man. His first movie had just come out a year earlier and was a much bigger hit than anyone expected. And suddenly the character wasn't just an old icon, he'd become a new phenomenon. Which is probably why MTV, of all networks, was eager to scoop up a new animated show about his college adventures. Acting as both this weird quasi-sequel to the first Raimi movie and a very loose adaptation of the Ultimate comics, the result was a show that I don't think looks great today, due to some very dated CG, but it was very solidly written. MTV was probably a bad match for Spidey since the show only lasted one season, but it did allow the writers to be much more mature than most Spider-Man cartoons could ever be. And that really paid off, as the show did a lot of great stuff with Peter, MJ, and Harry Osborn. It's really too bad that the animation looks like it does and that it only lasted one season, because otherwise I think this could have gone toe-to-toe with the best.
Old spider sense tells me he's over there. Ow!
Hey, yo.
Number 2, Spider-Man the Animated Series. What can I say about this show that hasn't been said already? It's a classic, and especially at the time, it blew away all other Spider-Man adaptations.
So what's number 1 then?
With ease, with its long, winding story arcs and intense focus on Peter as a character. I think it's really only beaten by Batman's animated series as the best superhero cartoon of the 90s. These days, it is easy to see the cracks. The animation is very stiff by today's standards, and some of the voice acting can be unintentionally funny, but overall it still holds up as a pretty incredible version of the webhead. I think where the show really shined was with its villains, with its versions of Hobgoblin and Venom being almost the definitive versions of those characters in my mind. Like, when I picture Venom, to this day, it's kind of this Venom that I'm thinking of. I also love that it's not afraid to get really big and cosmic. Sure, the episodes could get clunky, but they always took really big swings. Also, this show has an amazing J. Jonah Jameson, maybe the best ever outside of J.K. Simmons. I could honestly talk about this show all day, but I'll try to move on to number 1, The Spectacular Spider-Man. You probably predicted this because, yeah, it is kind of predictable. But for me, this is just the best version of Spider-Man ever put on TV. So much care was put into the writing of this show that it takes it out of the realm of just being a good kids cartoon and makes it a great TV show, period. The dialogue is sharp, the plotting is perfectly paced. In its 2 short seasons, it's kind of hard for me to find anywhere where it really tripped up. The animation might not be all that much to look at when judging by screenshots, but it really shines in those action scenes, where all the money and time saved by the more simplistic designs really shows up on screen, giving us some of the most fast-paced and thrilling Spider-Man battles I've ever seen. It may not have lasted long, but in its short time on the air, I think it really earned the top spot on this list. One thing that's been really interesting to see across all these interpretations of Peter Parker, even in Spider-Man Unlimited, is how many of them retain the character's love of science and learning. Peter Parker may not be Tony Stark levels of insane genius, but I think his more grounded level.
Yeah, whatever. I ain't finna go through that shit. But anyways, though, man, I don't agree. I think 1994 Spider-Man is the best one, hands down. I know some of y'all teeny boppers out there might say that. It'd be like, oh, that's because you're an old head and you didn't watch this one. And? What you gonna do? Gonna fight me? That's what I thought. Shut up, pussy. But anyways, so I just go about doing for this one, man. Nope, the 1994 one is the best one. I don't want to hear it. It's the best one. Sadly, it got left on a cliffhanger. You know, the sad part about all these Spider-Man shows is about 90% of these shows got canceled. None of these ever got like a series finale or anything. All these shows got canceled. That's a big running thing with all these Spider-Man cartoons. All of them got canceled. Damn near all of them. We still need 94 Spider-Man conclusion. If they could do it for X-Men, they could do it for Spider-Man too. I'm just saying, Disney, y'all need to get on it. But anyways, though, that's just gonna about do it for this one. I will see you on the next video. Till then, peace out.